Hey guys, Desolate Magic here. It's time for some more Aetherdrift spoilers. I know, I'm just as excited as you are. About a 2 out of 10. It's time for Afterburner Expert. It's a 3-cost 4/2 green, Goblet Artificer rare. By the way, this whole video is like rares and mythics. Like, I don't know, we even had that many left, but then again, it's the special guest cards that are featured heavily today, so buckle up for that one. So anyway, Exhaust, pay for 2 green. Put 2 1/1 counters on this creature. Okay. And then whenever you activate an exhaust ability, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's an awfully green-looking black card you've got there. Next up, we've got Scarabeo Sterzosaurio, which is, of course, scarabs on steroids. For some reason, somebody on the internet, troll, put that it's Steer Hill Beetle. Think anybody would believe that. So it's a 6/6 for 4. It's 1 black, 1 green. It's pretty easy to cast. It is an artifact vehicle, so it's not a creature right away. A little confusion of this set between saddle and all that and the self-driving crap, whatever. Vehicles fundamentally don't work, so they had to mix it up a little this time to bring it back. Plus, they upped the power level of standard, so, there's your 2 reasons. But this does have Trample and Crew too, but then when it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. So it's just like a junior edition version of that other Bugmobile. By the way, does anybody think this seems a little bit like that one card from Khans of Tarkir that everybody hated? It was 3 color, what was it, something Rhino, I think? Downright comical by the standards of standard right now. So next up, hey, we got Mimeoplasm, Revered one. He's back, I guess. This isn't one of the special guest cards. This is main set. Not that it matters for draft purposes. You open it, you play it, but let's see what this guy does. So he's 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black, plus X. 0/0 legendary creature ooze, but as Mimeoplasm enters, exile up to X creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3 1/1 counters on it for each creature exiled this way. Ooh, he gonna be a thick boy. If you pay 2, he becomes a copy of target creature card that was exiled with it, except it's a 0/0 and has this ability. Okay, I was gonna say you could just like Ghalta him or something, but that wouldn't really work. Honestly, he's probably bigger than Ghalta, so it kind of would work. So 3 color, no ward, and you got to pay 1x for each creature. No trample, not the end of the world, but still really, really powerful. Next up, Gonti, Night Minister. It's a 4-cost, double black, 3/4 legendary creature Aetherborn rogue. Told you it was Gonti. And whenever a player casts a spell that they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Oh, don't incentivize your opponent to play that kind of deck. But whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller, so in multiplayer, not necessarily you, looks at the top of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Now, they worded that in an interesting way in case Gonti dies. They didn't say the card gains that, but I think the way they phrased it is shorthand for that, where if he dies, it still maintains that ability. Because it sounds like they're projecting that property onto the card. Then it says, of course, mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell this way. Oh yeah? Mana that hasn't been tapped for yet. Mana that I just made up in my head. You really shouldn't say mana of any type, you should have said mana of any color. But then there's colorless, which is why they changed that phrasing. Unfortunately, I and most members of the community are smarter than them. Anyway, next up we got Burnout Bastronaut. It's a 1-cost 1/1 Goblin Warrior in rare. Oh gosh. Menace, start your engines, and if you pay 2, this creature gains +1/+0 till end of turn, and max speed, this creature has double strike. So, nothing too special until you like strap equipment to him or something. That whole count to 4 thing doesn't really work that well with red. Also, I completely misread it, and by misread it, I mean didn't bother to read it. You can't burn an opponent down on all 4 players' turns in the multiplayer and then return with start your engines. It's your turn that an opponent loses life. I would have almost done it the other way. This is too slow. Next up, we got Regal Imperiosaur. Boy, they usually keep some of the boring cards for one of the last days, but geez. It's a 3-cost 5/4 creature dinosaur, double green, and other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. So that's going to be a pricey card. Next up, quite possibly the most ridiculous card that we've seen so far, Unstoppable Plan. It's a 3-cost, non-legendary, keep that in mind, blue enchantment, and for 3 whole mana you get, at the beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents you control. Yep, because that went so well when they did it in green. I believe green was untap all your lands. But here's the problem. If you have multiple of these, and remember, there are cloning spells like you would not believe, then you can just react by tapping a bunch of your creatures in between the stacked triggers that say untap, untap, untap. That would be fun, wouldn't it? There's also a bunch of tap to mill crap in standard right now, among other effects. Yeah, this is going to be a disaster. Also, what? Jace is there? Jace knew that if he just had time to explain his plan, he would find the support. Unfortunately, time was in short supply, so he just mind controls a bunch of the contestants on various teams. What is the plan? I think the zombie cat wins is what I heard, and then Vraska ends up stealing the trophy or something. Or the hand was a fake out. I mean, there's a very easy way I could find out. I could read the story, but I'm not going to put myself through that slog through hell. If somebody wants to just blow it up in the comments, I don't give a shit. Go for it. Next up, the Lotus we've been waiting for. Oh, good. Radiant Lotus. It's a 6-drop, and it damn well better be, but it's an artifact, so it's really a 0-drop. Tap, sacrifice 1 or more artifacts. Hello. Choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacrificed this way. Yeah. So like 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever. I mean, the only thing holding this back is the fact that artifact decks don't tend to always necessarily use mana at all, really. They just use artifact affinity to drop in a bunch of crap for free. Outside of standard, I should say, obviously. Now, this is a 6-drop, so you got to line it up, but you wouldn't want this in play until you had a bunch of artifacts. And then you could just use mana to win the game in theory. It's a lot of stuff to line up when those decks are incredibly fast as is, so I'm not sure if this really has a place. But being able to generate that much mana, I mean, almost like no limit to it, that's ridiculous. This is going to find play in something. I mean, you could just drop in Thopter tokens. It doesn't even say non-token. It's just artifacts, period. In fact, isn't there an artifact land legal right now? Next up, we've got Cavalier of Dawn. Now, this is the start of the special guest segment here, so these are not legal in standard necessarily. In fact, there probably 0 of them are, but they are reprints from the past, and they're on a special bonus sheet that shows up in some percentage of the packs, and then for some reason they did that on Arena too. So get ready for your draft to be ruined, because if you pull any of this crap, you can play it. What is going on with this artwork? Anyway, it's a 5-cost triple white 4/6 creature, Elemental Knight, Vigilance. When this creature enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. When this creature dies, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So, not even that good of a card. Next up, Thoughtcast. Oh, here we go. 5-cost blue sorcery, affinity for artifacts. So in other words, 1-cost blue sorcery. Draw 2 cards. That's pretty messed up. Next up, Whir of Invention. Oh, here we go. So it's 3 blue. Oh, this artwork is terrible. 3 blue plus X. Improvise, so your artifacts can help pay it. So, yeah, they each tap for 1. But they can't pay for the blue, by the way. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value X or less, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. That's right. Direct tutor to, I wouldn't say free cast, but tutor to battlefield. You have to pay for it. I mean, it's mana value X or less, and you have to pay X, except you don't, because you just tap a bunch of artifacts, so you don't really need mana, so it is kind of free casting, which is why people hate this card. Then we've got Bone Miser. Okay, I don't hate that artwork. It's not my aesthetic. I just think it's like kind of funny. It looks almost like Aqua Teen Hunger Force-ish. I'm sure it's from something else. But it's a 5-cost. Black, they're all mythic, by the way. 4/4, creature zombie wizard. When you discard a card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Oh, it's this thing. Whenever you discard a land card, add 2 black mana to your mana pool. And then whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. That is a classic card right there. Next up, we got Galvanic Blast. It's a 1-cost red instant. It deals 2 damage to any target. And then Metalcraft, it deals 4 damage instead if you control 3 or more artifacts. Not like devastating, but good, you know, in draft. Next up, Pathbreaker Ibex. It's a 6-cost double green 3/3 creature goat. When this creature attacks, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Ooh. This has less than nothing to do with the set. The art looks awful, but I could still see that ruining someone's draft. I mean, they kind of took the foot off the pedal a little bit with getting people way too excited about that, because even the pros were saying, this is ridiculous. I just lost to another damn mythic. from not even this set, with a mechanic that's not even from this set. What the hell? I had a perfect setup and then just, oh, lucky me, I pulled a double rare. Oh, lucky me, my neighbor opened this pack and isn't playing those colors. Ooh, now I just get to free win because of luck and 0 skill. Yeah, people don't like that. But by the way, this looks awful. This is like, it looks like the dude who drew the melting clocks or whatever, and then the screamer, that one too. Like it's like that level, like 1980s sci-fi book illustration level. Which yeah, that's a vibe, cool, but like I don't love it. And it's Sky Sovereign console flagship, which does not look like that. I'll just throw that out there. And then what's with the hook? Like this is like some Sonic the Hedgehog stuff if you took, maybe some of the wrong meds. So 5 cost 6/5 legendary artifact vehicle, flying whenever it enters or attacks, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls, and then crew 3. And we're out of that hell, back to Guardian Sunmare. Isn't this a reprint? It's at least close. Let's find out. So it's a 5 cost 5/5 creature horse mount. Oh, it is different. Okay, I see. It's probably the same. Ward 2, whenever this creature attacks while saddled, search your library for a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle saddle 4. Oh, so it's worse than the other Sunmare, Crested Sunmare. That was like gain life, what was it, clone itself or bring out a horse or something like that? That thing was kind of out of control, but this is just like 3 and under tutor to the battlefield. It is saddle forward, it is a 5 cost card, but still kind of outrageous. Then we've got, I guess, the digital edition of Monument to Endurance. Hey, look, it's a lotus. It's a pyramid lotus. They just use AI. Hey, what, generate something that has to do with something magic. Ooh, pyramid lotus, cool. So it's a 3 cost artifact. When you discard this card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Is this an alchemy card? I kind of wonder now. Draw a card, create a treasure token. Each opponent loses 3 life. Wondering about that now, but yeah, I hate it. Okay, so we have something called that. It's called Madness. You didn't have to put whenever you discard this card, you could just put Madness, but they didn't want to do that because the set doesn't have Madness, but they still wanted to do it. You ever heard of consistency, Watsy? You ever heard that word? Well, believe it or not, that is it for today. There are still some left. They really hit some crazy crap for the end here. I did skip over some commons and uncommons that I didn't think were terribly exciting. But I think we're going to have enough to make one more video, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. What do you think of the set so far? And I'll see you guys next time.